Hi all, and welcome to the video. In this one, it's the MA playthrough, number 47. So, we're out here doing a little bit of a dailies run. That's it for this episode, but there are a few things to talk about. Yes, there are. Now, yesterday, don't know exactly what time my time, I suppose it doesn't really matter. Anyway, yesterday, the Facebook account held by FC employees announced that a new inverted commas server was going to be launched in 2019, and this server was going to be a classic AO server of kind. In other words, going back to basically what Froobs have now for free, only on a server populated only by people that start on that server. However, the two caveats I hoped they would put in place do not appear to be there, or at least that's the only information we've had so far. I did try bugging people on Discord in the semi-official chat, and didn't get very much out of them. Some of the answers were vague, and that could be they're just not allowed to say, or they just don't know. I have no idea which might be the case. To be honest, I really don't. However, the two caveats I wanted to see in place on a new server to ensure that it isn't massively over-exploited immediately, because a lot of people have wistful notions of what a new server will be, and I don't want to spoil somebody's dream, but, it's like talking a kid down from a roof who thinks they can jump off and fly with a bedspread. You don't want to see that kid get hurt, do you? Now, the reason I say that and hope it doesn't sound condescending, although it probably does, but I don't mean it to, is although I can be accused of being cynical, I'm actually not. I take a sort of broader view of things. I take a breath and I try and think about them unemotionally. And yeah, now the problem is, if you already have an existing account, you will be able to play on this server. There are no actual Froobs on the server, which is one thing a lot of Froobs wanted. So the people that were playing on Froob accounts wanted a server that was pretty much just for them. Which, is fine. If that's what people want, that's what they want. But where's the profit in that for Funcom? So yeah, that wasn't going to happen. The second thing is there's nothing in place that would prevent people from boxing. So if you haven't someone on the live servers now who has several accounts and multi-boxes them for PVM, well, that was a quick drop. There is nothing in place to stop them starting out on the new server and boxing their way to the highest possible level immediately. Nothing whatsoever. Now, when I asked if anything was going to be put in place to prevent that happening, because most, I think, of the boxers in the live server right now are just people that do happen to have that many characters and do log a few of them simultaneously and even use multiplexing software to help out their guildmates to get raids to happen. And that's a symptom of low population. If there were enough people to go do the raids anyway, it wouldn't be necessary. However, there are other boxers who make a living on the live server by being a boxer. The accounts are paid for with GMI, credits, buying graces, and they can literally solo anything in the game and sell the loot from it for those credits. So they probably don't make a lot of money, but they are keeping their accounts alive via the game economy. Now, a fresh server with no competition, and the problem with the non-instanced access stuff on the release of Anarchy Online is things like Agent Lamb, the Mercs, Tara, etc. For all those sorts of things are in place, the Pest, Smuggler's Den, etc. We don't know what's actually going to be in place, whether the wreck might be there or not. It's another, it might not be. Then someone with a box is going to charge ahead of everybody else on that server far faster. And the same is true if you've got somebody who has the time to play. So in other words, if you've got somebody who can play for 10 plus hours a day and they work on their character in a kind of logical way, then they are going to progress a lot quicker than someone who can only manage a couple of hours in an evening, which is fine, you know. The thing I think people need to remind themselves is when they, you know, oh, I played in 15 years ago, their life was probably quite different then, which is all well and good, but it isn't the same anymore. So the nostalgia glasses thing is, yeah, but life's, yeah, but you've had kids since then. They're in school now, and you have responsibilities, and you know, you have your mortgage, and you have this, and I get grid buffed every time I run past. Oh, Dayla, never change. So yeah, good as the nostalgia goggles might be, you've got to remember you can't you can't go back in time to your life then. It would be nice, I suppose, but hey, you know, who am I to say one way or the other? So that's the two main problems with it. People seem to think that people won't exploit the fact that it's a fresh market, and they will. Because one thing you can't code for is human nature, unfortunately. The good and the bad. So what you're going to find is that people will take advantage of a fresh server. Suddenly, anything that's rare or hard to get, the people who can will be getting it and offering to sell it. Now, the zeros after the numbers may be shorter, but the economy will still fall under the control of those who have access to those items. And a lot of people go, well, where are they going to get the money to buy them? The cred sellers will jump on the server as fast as you won't believe it, because they haven't removed all the duping, unfortunately. Someone was telling me only yesterday morning, in fact, that yeah, there's still a bunch of duped stuff on the server, and it's still being made. There are a few people that are still, you know, out there spoiling it for everybody, kind of deal. Now, if those people pop on the new server, it's probably going to stand out, and I hope it does, and I hope something's done about it, but I honestly don't think it will. They're not putting anything in place. The other thing is, if Norton Wars is suddenly available, then there's going to be a massive land grab for all the bases, and we know how the PvP boxer community is. They'll just take everything. Then you're going to get people selling areas of land. Because that's human nature. That is the dark side of human nature. And you could say, oh, you're only looking at the negatives. No, I'm looking at the reality of what happens. Now, a lot of this I base on having been in just about all the AO betas. I was in the Norton Wars beta. I was in the Shadowlands beta. I was in the AI beta, etc., etc. And the same thing happens within that tiny bubble microcosm of the game. People behave the same way. I remember in the Shadowlands beta distinctly people telling me, who'd never actually played AO, that pet classes were the only class to play and they could solo anything in the game. This was what they believed, and I didn't know any different. And I was saying, yeah, I'd like to see, and remember, this is pre-Shadowlands and early Shadowlands, so none of the LE items or anything else, how pet classes were suddenly going, you know, at level 200, going to be able to solo the mercs with just one team. And me trying to explain that no, Ian Ward doesn't work that way, and he will one-hit your nano gimp toon. And he would do, to be fair. And maybe not now with a pimped out MP, with all the LE toys, but of course that's, 15 years or so of power creep. It's completely different. But in that microcosm, two factors came into play. One, that there was like literally no gear available because Rubicar was sealed off. You had Borealis as the only Rubicar location before all the fair trade stores and a couple of mission locations that you could get to, and that was it. All the other content was locked on that particular server. The end result of which was that pet classes could roll and get their pets, but nobody else really could get their weapons together. Nobody knew what Perennium was then either. So yeah, suddenly they became, if you like, it's just nature at play, isn't it? They become, the apex predator. That's what happens. And why people don't realise or seem to want to accept that this happens all the time is just beyond me, really. I don't get why they just don't want to see it. So yeah, I am concerned for the new server. Is about the best I can say. I am concerned for it because of those caveats. People who box, people who've got massive amounts of time to play will take over that server. That is just the nature of things. And saying, oh, well, you don't know that until it happens. Yes, okay. If that's what you choose to believe, it's what you choose to believe. And you could claim that, well, that's what you're choosing to believe, yes. But, you see, I'm basing it on experience and facts. Blind optimism isn't helpful. You might think it's heroic, and in some instances it can be. But I don't think it is in this one. So, yeah. The other comment I've had from a lot of veterans that have messaged me, etc., has been, why are you just attacking with your pet? Do you want to join team, or? See, this is human nature at play here. And it's flagged. You got 3 minutes. I'll go on then. I should heal myself. I'm just wondering if he's going to pull some crap. I'm suddenly going to get gimped and killed at some point. I don't know. Leave team attack. That wouldn't surprise me. But you see, being suspicious like that, that's just understanding human nature. It really is. And that's the problem with this server. If they'd have said, no, we've put in place X, Y, Z, and boxing's not going to exist on the server, I would feel a damn sight better about it. If they said it's not going to be free to existing accounts, in other words, yes, there's the server, it's going to be at a much reduced cost, but it will be based upon a subscription, but a unique one. That would probably, those two things, so not allowing boxing on it of any form and not allowing current accounts to use it, those two things were in place. Think about the the long-term effects of it. Think about the knock-on effects of it. How long are we flagged for? 8 minutes. Okay. Which is kind of annoying, really. See, I can't grid out of here because I've got that running, which, pain in the bum. Really. So I'm going to have to fly off. Didn't have a lot to say either, did he? Kind of weird there. But hey. So yeah, there is the thing. If they had no boxing, so that would mean, let's say it's a really low cost subscription, £5 for 3 months. So super low, but a paid subscription nonetheless. You think about what would the effect be? Some people would probably transfer to that server and stay there, which is cool, and they could play there and be happy doing what they're doing with their friends. But you're never going to get back what it was 15 years ago or 20 years ago, depending how long it's actually been for you. Because you are not the same. Your life is not the same. The world is not the same. So as good an idea as it seems, and it does on the surface seem like a reasonable idea, without any kind of thing like that, you're just going to get people that already have 10 accounts jumping on it, boxing it, and there you go. You know, let's suppose you're trying to kill something in the subway. There's a boxer in there. Level 30 boxer in the subway, farming stuff. You can't get to the mobs you need to get to because they're farming it. Say one of the bosses in there. Well, we want, you know, whichever drop from there. You're going to have to go through him. Or outdamage them, which is going to be bloody difficult. And that's just up to level 25, which is something you can do in one day. Very, very easily. You can do level 100 in a day now without a massive amount of effort. You know. And then they're saying eventually the item shop will be on there. Well, then you're going to get people just power passing the entire game, more or less. That's at that point you're, well, kind of asking for problems. Because people will just log on, get the credit card out, and boom, you know, go through a gazillion, you know, whatever, very, very quickly. So yeah, therein lies the problem. So the next mission flags me anyway. No, not the one on screen or on the map. No, the next one is shoplifter again. So yeah, we're gonna get flagged anyway. So we may as well just run around and do it flagged. Let's find a basic shop. Oh, how I don't like this mission. Bit of an experiment as well. What quality did he just give me? 221. Oh, okay. Actually useful. Kind of useful. This mission would be a damn sight harder if more people played. Because the guards are one thing, but they're not the only thing. And guards don't follow you into shops. Players do. Oh no! Now, I could well get ganked on the way back to the agency. Yes, I could. But we'll see. Yeah, it's refreshed the actual flag, so... yeah, interesting. Center map on character. No way we'd get to the grid without being aggroed, I don't think. Don't think it's possible. Unless you fly in real fast from a curious angle. Just not likely. Oh, we managed it. So it can be done, it's just highly unlikely. Right, we're going to risk getting ganked on the way out. Someone's put up a Christmas tree. Interesting. Quick! Mission complete. He cleared the flag. Which is cool. It is cool. Evasive stance. Modify all def 1000. Bloody useful buff when you're in a bit of a pinch, but yeah. Kind of nice that they thought to put that. No! This is the buff monster. Okay, Borealis I want to go next. I've got the alien one to get done. Yeah, so if you're wondering where the fanfare and whatnot might be from my channel, I don't have one really for this, being, you know, completely honest, based on the feedback we've had so far, because honestly we don't really know how things will go. In other news, I want to say thank you to someone who I will refer to as simply Daniel. Thank you, Daniel. Yes, another person that very kindly sent me a bit of money over PayPal. Thank you for your donation. Very gratefully received. I hadn't mentioned it yet because I was deciding what I was going to do with it in regard to the channel. So currently, if you remember, someone around New Year sent me enough for me to go, oh, I can buy that microphone I've had my eye on for quite a while. And certainly for my ears, sounds a hell of a lot better. So I went out, ordered that mic, and it turned up. And that is mentioned in one video. But another chap called Daniel sent me $50. So thank you very much for that, sir. Now, $50 currently in UK money, out 1,000 reflect. Let's blow it. Equates to roughly £40, which is very much appreciated. And I decided to put that back into the channel itself as well. So I actually got the proper shock mount for the microphone. Now, if you don't know what a shock mount is, it's like a suspension cradle for a microphone. And you will have seen them and thought, what the hell is that? Is it part of the mic? But what it does is any bashing on keyboards, footsteps, low-lying acoustic hum coming through floorboards, etc., is all eliminated from a mic stand. And if you accidentally tap the mic stand while recording with one of these on, a shock mount, then it doesn't transfer to the microphone, or it's greatly reduced in how much is transferred to the microphone. So yeah, extremely useful. But the official proper one, oh there we go, we can actually blow this one. The official proper one does cost a little bit of money, but you could never make one that well for that amount of money, not without access to a machine shop, and then it might take 4 or 5 iterations of it to get it to be as good, which is what they've done, you know. So yeah, a lot of factors there. So thank you very much, Daniel. The shock mount I can't take a picture of while I'm recording because it hasn't been delivered yet. All I can tell you is it's due today and it just says out for delivery. So some point today it should arrive. I don't know exactly when, but yeah. So thanks a lot for that, because I'd like to end the video on a bit of a positive note. I know I've sounded extremely negative about this new server, but based on what I've been told, it'll just be a complete mess in a very short amount of time. And that's a problem. Now, it's a twofold problem. Now, if you remember earlier on this year, 2 reputable companies made themselves more or less a laughing stock. You remember Fallout 76? What a total disaster that has turned out to be. And also, which, you know, Bethesda, I mean, Fallout 76 is now a meme. And then the Diablo for mobile, that was bad. I felt bad for those devs on stage. I honestly did. I felt really bad for them. You know, they had no idea what they were going to get back. And it wasn't pretty. No, it wasn't. And here's the thing with that. Although those games are complete and utterly different, what they are is a massive disappointment to people that like those games. Yeah. Now, look at the modern Fallout from that. Currently, if you ask somebody about Anarchy Online, the current player will say, yeah, it is what it is, it's a great old classic game, there's nothing quite like it. You'll generally get a fairly positive answer, and you will from me. If you ask someone that hasn't played it in a while, they can say, oh, I played that game years ago, oh, it's such a good game, it's just old now and I can't play anymore. And that's the public perception of the game. My concern is that, yeah, oh God, stop it with that. Well, return to the warden. My shtick with that is if this thing is launched and it is a just total disaster in 5 minutes or in 6 months, are we going to see the same backlash? On a smaller scale, perhaps. But you've got to remember, when AO launched, the launch was pretty terrible. But the internet wasn't the same place. We didn't have Reddit. We didn't have the amount of people using social media then as we do now. There really wasn't that much social media back at that time. There were forums, news groups. There was no Facebook. There was no YouTube. There was no MySpace. I'm not even sure Reddit was a thing, or when Reddit first came to being, because that's how long ago it was. So subsequent developments around the world have made pretty massive changes to how information is shared and received. David Bowie called it back in 1999, I think, when he talked about what the internet will mean for the world. And it has drastically changed the world. I've sat back and watched it over 20 years. I mean, yes, we've had the internet for quite a while now, but in its current state, even the internet can't keep up with the internet. I mean, yeah, pretty crazy stuff. And that's kind of the thing. If Fallout 76 had been exclusively released, even as bad as it is, to, a bunch of people as they are, without the platform, the damage would have been far, far less. Yes, it would, than it has been with modern media. And I'm just hoping a terrible launch, subsequent close down and merge is not going to cause such a massive backlash. That's my concern, genuinely. So you can imagine it if this thing just becomes a massive, pile of burning garbage in a very short amount of time. How will that affect anyone maybe wanting to play the current live server? Oh yeah, I heard about Anarchy Online. It's a bit of a meme now. That's not a good look, The game's kind of survived because it doesn't owe the company anything anymore. But companies are there to make a profit, and Funcom's been very successful with Conan. Very successful with it. So, that's great. And well done Funcom for that. And well done dev team for Conan. But they've had plenty of games that have fallen flat on their face. The Lego one and, whatever. That's a hard one to get right, I guess, Lego. Who plays Lego games anyway? Who saw how successful the Lego movie would be? It's a tricky one to call, really. I mean, you know why I think the Lego movie was so good? Because I think when they were making it, when people even went to see it, they kind of went, it's a movie about Lego. It's going to be terrible, but let's go watch it anyway. And then it was actually pretty good. It's hard to do that twice, you see. Expectations are much higher for it now. I hate the way that happens. Flame doesn't know whether it's in front or behind that tree that's actually behind me. Yeah, it's kind of a reskin engine rather than an actual game engine, isn't it? So yeah, that's my thoughts on this new server. I am concerned. That's my honest current feeling on that server. And a lot of the people I know on the live server who have every item and everything, a lot of them are saying the same thing. I'm not going near, and they're saying, these are their words, by the way, I'm not going near that with the barge pole. That's what they're saying. No, thank you. There are a vocal bunch of people on Facebook, certainly, claiming, as soon as you do a clean server, I'd be back in a heartbeat. And they all say they would, because that's what they want. People are saying they want this server, but in their mind, they have a picture of how this server will be. And we don't know what this server will be. I can see some pitfalls based on the information, and just the information we've had, and what I know about human nature and what I've seen happen in all the other little isolated server instances. Experience can be a great teacher, or it can tar your, perception of things. But I'm trying to be even-handed about this. Those are the two big things. People can box on the new server, and the feedback we got from people representing Funcom on Discord was the policy is unchanged, and the current policy is not exactly clear as day. It is a little vague, but basically it's do what you want. Seems to be the current policy. So make of that what you will. And of course, the access is completely there for anyone who already has an existing paid account. So yeah, I guess we'll see. Okay, folks, bye for now.